What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting they're possibilities for you to consider, in which you can then come up with your own logical conclusions. And a very grand welcome to all the fellow decoders out there around the world, male or female. My name is Logan, and this is Decode Your Reality. And today we're going to be breaking down and decoding what I have coined, and I guess I'm going to pronounce as the Micron Decoded. And boy, do I have a jam-packed, jam-filled presentation for all of you. So as I often say, put on a pair of headphones, block out the outside world, get really immersed in this presentation, because what I'm about to show you is through, many years of research and dedication to this craft of decoding. And, it really, every decode has, all these years involved in it, and this one is no exception. And what does this mean? What's going on in the world stage? And I will just offer to you the suggestion of just keeping it neutral, staying away from this static on the world stage. Just if you're going to observe it, be an observer from a layer of neutrality, and that's it. Create your own noise in the world rather than partaking in someone else's. So let's get started in this presentation. Here are the topics that we're going to be talking about during this transmission. In the zero position, always want to include the zero. It is the intro, and I have a few slides that I'm going to be showing to fulfill this zero position. Number one, we're going to get into some Netflix and Squid Game. That's right, because it's got everything to do with what's going on with this topic. Number two, the remote variant. Number three, computer medicine. Number four, number four, transhumanism. Some of you already know that was coming. Number five, Ready Player Who. Number six, the Greek playbook. And number seven, downsizing. And the very end is going to be the very reason why I have titled this the Micron Decoded, rather than the typical expression that you hear on the world stage today. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Get strapped in, get settled in. This one is going to be a really fun transmission. So starting off with the intro, let's get into some theology. And I want to digress and just tell all of you, those of you that are fans of this, that are like, this is the end all, this is it. Look, folks, there are older ancient texts than this one, okay? I just want to let all of you know that. According to, and all we can do is go off of history. Now, that's an opinion, obviously. But Hinduism has the oldest ancient text. And I'm going to be including Hinduism in this presentation because it doesn't matter which theology you use. They all will go to the same source and they will follow the same script. They're just packaged differently. So I'm just going to use this one because it's the most popular spell book on the world stage. And who wrote this? Who wrote it? Who delivered it to the world? That's probably the more important thing to take into consideration. Well, it's the Roman Catholic Church. That's who delivered it to the world's population. So they had the final say in what it has to say. And this is the big scripture, Revelation 13, verses 16, 17, and 18, talking about the mark of the beast. And many people are talking about, what does it mean? Listen, it's beyond just saying it's 666. It's way beyond that. It has many meanings. But it's saying that it's all about the mark, the beast, and the name. The mark, the beast, and the name. And the number, of course. But, the Roman Catholic Church delivered that scripture to the world, I feel, in the year 382, when they delivered the Old and New Testament. So therefore, I'm going to start off this presentation using the Francis Bacon numerology cipher, because Francis Bacon is a very special numerology cipher, because it goes off of the numbers 1 through 26, A through Z. Here it is, 1 through 26, A through Z, the lowercase, and then you have the uppercase finalizing this cipher, the 27 through the 52. And the reason why this one is obviously special in its own rights is because, as most of you know that follow this great research, prison planet equals 52. 52 weeks of the year. So there's a lot of specialness to this cipher. And I'm going to start off with breaking down the numerology of the first letter of this topic, O Micron. And the letter O, of course, is what's called the capstone in this word in numerology. This is where numerology plays out its role, and why you got to know the science of numbers, because there's a lot to be said with numerology and how it works. And the first letter of each word is called the capstone. The first letter of your name is going to be called the capstone, and that is kind of like the rudder of the ship. It directs and navigates the word. It's the leader of the word, and it starts with the letter O. And since I know that the Roman Catholic Church uses Francis Bacon quite a bit, because all this cipher right here that I just showed, it goes with the capital letters, and this is what the Latin uses. This is what the Vatican uses. You go to the Vatican in the city, and you go to the basilicas, and it's got all capital letters. It's called Dog Latin. Of course, dog is the G-O-D spelled backwards, of course. So this has a lot of merit to it when we want to use and decode this kind of stuff. And obviously, I'm going to start here. And notice that the O is the capital one, of course. We can do the lowercase one. I'll do that one in a second. Is the number 41, which is the 13th freaking prime number. If you know, and the 13 is tied to the sun. 13 is tied to the bloodlines. It's tied to the sun. It's tied to the element gold in the string of pi. It's tied to a lot of things. And there it is, located in the Francis Bacon cipher. And, let's not leave out the lowercase, which is the number 15. And of course, the number 15 in the English is tied to the 15th card in the tarot, called the devil, which is the number 33. The devil, when you break that down in Chaldean, equals the number 33. It's the sun devil. But here it is. It's the devil. And the 15, and remember, oxygen is the air part of the air we breathe, which has an atomic weight of 15. The eighth element, which, is tied to the sun. But there is the tie-in, starting this thing off with a bang, and it's the 41 and the 15 coming from that capstone of this word, O Micron. And what does that mean? Well, at the very end, I'm going to show you what that means. So this is the scripture that it talks about the mark, having that mark. And you can't buy or sell without it. And I don't know if this is going to be true or what this really means, but obviously what's going on in the world stage right now is kind of fitting this narrative, is it not? Those of us that are in these parts of the world, this is happening right now. The crazy loony bin, because we're in the dark age, of course. That's why this craziness is happening. But notice it's Revelation 13 verses 16, 17, and 18. But this one talks about the not being able to buy or sell. And of course, what is the number 17 in numerology? It's the word earth, which is an anagram of the word heart. So obviously it's telling you that. And here is the tarot cards that's going to deliver to you the pictures, because we think in pictures of what this scripture means. And I don't even need to narrate what I'm showing you here with these tarot cards. The star is the earth. We are all stars. Movie star, rock star. And the card that precedes that is death, and of course it has several meanings. So some of you that just think, oh, if you do that, you're going to die. Well, I mean, it goes far beyond that, folks. But this is the starting point of that. This is the intro now. Now, I want to get into this because I want to break down, because a lot of you think the 666 is from the devil and all that kind of stuff, and all the stuff that people have been programmed with. But I'm going to tell you, it's the sun. See, the sun is the 666 above, and man is the 666 below. We are the sun devils. Here is the magic square of the sun. And as you'll notice, there are 6 rows, and each of them, if you add them up, get out your calculators, you want to fact check it, each one of them equal 1, 1, 1. And then when you get down to the bottom, you add that up, it's 666. The reason why I have Jesus Christ here is because this magic square has the numbers 1 through 36. And if you just go to numerology and you type in, I don't know why I even have the basics ones here, but you just type in the word Jesus Christ, you're going to get a 36. And there it is. It uses the numbers 1 through 36, all of them. So those people that think Jesus Christ is the Son, well, there's merit to that because it's right there. 666, which of course is equaling the number 18. What do you see right there? Jesus is 18, Christ is 18, ding, ding, ding. Can't get any more clear than that. I've showed this in my Superstar Decoded, and this is what I believe to be a very accurate rendition of the sun as it moves through the seasons on our calendar. And this is a photograph of the sun rising on the horizon each day of every month on the same day. December, it starts here, and then it goes January, February, March, and it goes to June, and then it goes back down. And I believe there's 13 months because December would be added again, and it creates this beautiful sine wave, this boomerang right here. And if you put 2 of these together, you're going to get an S formation. And that's the sine wave. That's why the sun starts with the letter S. Soul, the sun, the sine wave, which is the dragon wave. This is the very reason why they called it this word right here. I'm not even going to use some of these words, these marker words, just because I don't want to get edited or banned from this video being published. But there it is. That's the reason why it was named that. And what was the number that they put after this right here? The number 19. Why is that? Well, let's get into that, because we're going to get into the mark of the beast. The word beast in Greek, from the Greek scriptures, that's where it originated from, the New Testament. Talking about the mark of the beast, there it is. There are several different spellings of this. You can drop that U right, this upsilon, but there is the beast in the Greek. It's a number 30, and how very fitting it matches these 2 big titles or nouns that represent other entities known as the God, the God. The Gnostics call it the demiurge. That's a 30. The New Age name of the God is Jehovah, the number 30. Jesus was from Nazareth. Nazareth equals 30. Santa Claus equals 30. They're all 30s. It's all the same story. So what do you think the beast is? Go to Isaiah 45 verses 7. Those of you that love your theology, and go read about that scripture that'll talk about that the God creates peace and evil. It's both. It's the sun devil. That's exactly what's going on here. The sun devil. And we can extend beyond that, bring in Lucifer, of course, because Lucifer's the sun. Obviously, when Lucifer's called the light bringer, it ain't Venus. It's not Venus. It's not Venus. Venus is not a light bringer. The sun is the light bringer. The sun is the morning star, not Venus. And this is to me, the support to back that up. There's the 30. There's the 30 in the weight of phosphorus right there. And phosphorus has 15 protons. I'm going to be getting to that in a second. But the pH is an abbreviation for potential hydrogen, pH balance. What is hydrogen? It's the sun. The sun is made up of hydrogen and helium, primarily hydrogen. And when you look at hydrogen on the periodic table, and you look at what the weight is of hydrogen, there it is, 1.008. Well, what is, again, you go right back to Jesus Christ. What is he? 18. 18. Matching that to hydrogen. So is it clear now that the Christ is Lucifer, Lucifer is the Christ, and Jehovah, and it's all the same thing? It's all tied together. And what delivered this right here? Well, they called it this. And what is another name for this? The Son. The Son. So man's not running this show, folks. Man is just being used to carry out the show. Got good little actors and actresses. This is all theater and a simulation that we're playing out. That's it. Going further right here, now we bring in some Hinduism, the oldest known religion on the world stage that predates the Bible, the Taurian Bible. It predates it. It's before it. And yet you'll find the same stories telling you the same things, just packaged differently. Here's the creator God in the Hinduism tradition. It's Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Shiva the destroyer has everything to do with this because it's part of what's going on the world stage. But it's the 15, and what else is, what else is matched to that in the same cipher? The word beast. So we now go right back over here to phosphorus, the light bringer, which is the sun, which is Lucifer, and you get the 15 right here, and you get the 30, tied to the word beast in Greek, tied to the word beast in Chaldean, tied to the word Brahma in Chaldean. See, it doesn't matter what religion you follow. It doesn't matter what ancient text you want to follow. It is going to tell you the same story. It's all part of the same script, just packaged differently. That's it. I came out with this slide not too long ago. I've sent it out a few times on different decodes, and I used the elements on the periodic table showing the beast, 666, and it is our lower chakras. If you follow the pH scale, which goes from the numbers 1 through 14, the very middle is 7, but also the very middle of this would be the number 4. This is the balancing point. You have the as above, and you have the so below. And the so below is where acid hangs out. This is all acidic down here. This is where, of course, procreation happens, and where we do our humping, and where we fill our bellies to make ourselves feel go towards that satiation. If you take these 36 elements right here, and you add them up, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, all the way to 36. Get out your calculators and add it up. If you want to fact check this, you're going to get 666. And then you just go right back to the magic square of the sun. Here it is. And you have the numbers 1 through 36, equaling the number 666. It's right there. So that's the great beast above our head. And then we, as mankind, being the little devils down here, we're the beast below, the adversary of the sun. So you have your spirit and your ego. The spirit's the sun, the ego is man. When you take this scripture, 13 verses 18 in Revelation, talking about the number of the beast, when we use the alchemical elements to describe its narration, 13 verses 18 is aluminum and argon. You can add these up as well, but if you divide the 26 divided by 39 in the weights there, you're going to get 0.666. Using just pure math now. There are many ways you can do this, but I think this is very crystal clear. If you want to be a beast, if you want to be an animal, you stay down in the lower acidic chakra realms down here. This is what will keep you down here. This is earth down here. You want to get here in the higher realms. Let's keep going and get into the next topic now, called the Squid Game. Now we're going to get into some Netflix. So a big shout out to Netflix. Thank you very much for producing your content. I'm just a gratitude person overall. So I wouldn't have caught this unless this came out. And these people were being used to deliver this show right here. And this hit me so hard when I was watching it. I couldn't believe it. Honestly, I was like, wow. It couldn't have been more in your face. What does this show have to do with this title, Oh Micron? What does it have to do with what's going on the world stage today? Well, you're about to find out right now. And of course, we got to bring in video games into this because that's exactly what we are living out is a video game. We are being used remotely by energies outside this reality. This reality is not real to whatever is watching down below us through their screen. This show, if you haven't seen it, you may want to skip to the next topic if you haven't seen this because it may not make any sense. But this show, what stood out to me right away as soon as I started watching this just the other day was the logo that they used when they first start this show up. And there is the circle, the triangle, and the square. And there it was. I knew it automatically, and I don't even own a PlayStation, but I knew it automatically because I have used PlayStations a long time ago when I was a kid. And there is the symbols that directly match this show that's so popular on Netflix called Squid Game. And of course, there's the O, and there's the O. This show came out on September 17th. So we're going to decode that. And we're going to put that in contrast to when this variant came out. November 26th is when they named it this title right here. And we compare it to the release date of this show. And lo and behold, look at what we have here. Now, folks, at what point are you going to draw the line to realize that you think man is sitting down with Netflix and the creator of this, like, let's get together and let's release this on November 26th because, you know, the dates in between on the calendar. I mean, folks, do you know how ludicrous that sounds? Thinking that man is actually trying to do this to pull the wool over your eyes, to mock you. That's what some people think. Trying to mock you. There's no mocking going on. People are being used to deliver the script. That's it. Notice how many days in between September 17th and November 26th is when they came out with this. 70 freaking days. Go right back to the Greek. That's why they're using these. We've got to use the Greek because that's what they're calling these variants. From the Greek. And there's the capstone. 70. Right there. More importantly, how many months and days is it? 2 months and 9 days. And then you bring in the Chaldean. And there is another connection right away. It's the 29. Which a lot of you know, you've been following this great research. It's linked to Yaldabaoth. I'll be getting into that because the squid is the octopus. The squid shoots out black ink. You got black goo, Google, all that stuff. And you got the other stuff that's inside whatever the hell they're doing with this whole thing. You know, the oxide stuff, all that stuff, fun stuff that's going on in the world stage. Folks, this is serious, obviously, with the dates. And man's not coding the... Yeah, sure, they may be choosing that, but they're not sitting down with all these layers. It's just too many layers. They would never get any damn thing done. So here is the logo. Highlighted in pink, obviously, the shapes they want you to see. The circle, triangle, and square. Notice it equals the number 59. And I've shown this in my Game of Life Decoded. If you haven't seen my Game of Life Decoded, please check it out. It's the direct match. 59, 59. What do you think this whole thing is about? Being down here playing the game of life. That's what we're playing a game, folks. This is a game. Got to figure it out. So I want to bring this character in right here because he's got everything to do with this, or it has everything to do with this. And I don't remember this guy's name, the actor, but I know he was born on December 15th. And of course, I'm going to fact check that against the cards. So I go to the boilerplate chart of the cards of illumination. Excuse me. And you should know your birthday is here. These are the 365 days of the year in the Gregorian calendar. You can even go 364 in the solar lunar. Doesn't matter. I'll just exclude the jokers. But here are the 12 months running across horizontally and then the 31 days running vertically. So this guy right here has December 15th. So I go December and we get to the number 15. There it is. It's the 3 clubs card. And then Thomas John Ellis, the character, and I've decoded him so many times. I decoded Lucifer. The results are ridiculously coded. It's just insane and it's ludicrous. It's funny. Whatever created this reality is a freaking stand-up comedian. This dude right here, they casted to play Lucifer. His real birth name, Thomas John Ellis. Thomas is the twin brother of Jesus. That's why Jesus is in the show. His birthday is November 17th. You go over here. Here's November. Scroll down to the number 17. And what do we have? The same freaking card, the 3 clubs right there. And of course, the 3 clubs card is the 16th card in the deck. I don't have my chart here. The three clubs is the 16th card in the deck. And the word hell equals 16. Of course, Lucifer is known to rule over hell. No mistake there. In the original spelling in the Old Testament of Lucifer, it wasn't Lucifer. That was the Latinized version of it. It's actually hell. It's Hyll in the Aramaic. And you can't get any more closer to the origination of the words than that, which is a match. And this is the element that matches the 16th card. It is the element sulfur, which, of course, what does the sun start with? The letter S. There's a match. Sulfur. 32 is the number of when water transmutes from a liquid to a solid, 33 degrees down to 32, representing the soul below, obviously. It's the hellish versions that we live in. It's the game that we all play. This right here is trying to tell you it's called the Squid Game. The circle, triangle, and square, we get into polygonal shapes, sacred geometry. There's no separation, ladies and gentlemen, from the mystical arts to sacred geometry to pure mathematics. This reality is completely scripted. To what degree, I just don't know, but obviously you can see, and I'm going to keep going to keep showing you this. So we also had this show that came out. I did a decode. I included this, Alice in Borderland, another show from Southeast Asia. And of course, the card in the hand of this trailer right there is the 3 clubs. And they said this card is the Game Master. The Game Master, 3 clubs. So what do you think the Game Master is that's running the Squid Game? Which is, of course, running this game right here that we're all playing out. The Micron. And where does it lead to? What's going on? Well, you're about to find out. So here is the Game Master in numerology. Look at what it equals. The number 32, that's a direct match of the weight of sulfur's average, 32. I showed this in Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day showed plenty of symbolism and numbers leading to the number 32. It was on the train, and there was a lot of 32 and 16 symbolism in there, representing mankind being down here in hell, being stuck down here in Wonderland. And, it just went on and on and on. But then you have this element right here called germanium, and it's the 32nd element. The big key of this element right here is the weight of germanium. The average is 72. That's a direct tie to the story of the 72 angels and demons that even the Society of Jesus back in the 14th century, when they first originated from Ignatius of Loyola, they were talking about that when they bring you to a retreat. You'd go into the mountains, and for 30 days you would observe these layers of reality, the angels and demons pulling at your strings, which I feel is just the architect or architects pulling at our strings, ruling over us. This is a game to them. We are its characters. Our avatars are being controlled remotely, and that's why this remote has everything to do with this Micron, and I'm going to get into that. But there it is. There it is right there. 19 is the sun. 13 is gold. The gold is sun. It's just all right there, folks. You can't miss this. You can't miss this. So let's get into this next topic now, called the remote variant. The remote variant. Of course, it's the remote because it's the remote control. So I decided, I'm like, well, since the PlayStation remote really hit me hard watching the Squid Game, and I noticed that it was in the variants they're talking about on the world stage, let's go check out who created PlayStation, right? Who made this remote control? Here's the guy right here, Ken Kutaragi from Japan. He's known as the father of the PlayStation. He's the one who created it. And of course, this is the comedy. This is why it's just comical. His birth card, August 2nd, is the freaking Jack in the Box card. I've been showing how important this is, telling you we're stuck in the box. You're in the box. The box is rhodium. The box is Pandora's box. And you're stuck in here until you die, and then we don't know what happens after that. This dude right here, who is the maker of PlayStation, one of the most successful consoles in the video game industry, this guy has the frickin' Jack in the Box car. What do you think the odds would be? And his birthday is 22/8 or 8/2. 82 is Prison Planet, if you've been paying attention. And 28 is Lucifer. 28 is Architect. 28 is the second perfect number. 2 is Duality. Just keeps going on and on, folks. This dude's life was not his own. And he wasn't a robot. I watched some videos of this guy. He's not a robot. It's a real dude. It's a real people being used. And all this is connected. It's just a big joke. Look at this. This is more comedy. Here's the guy's name in numerology. Look what it is. 30 freaking 2. Matching that of Sulfur. Matching that of Game Master. He's the father of the PlayStation. Are you kidding me? Which is a video game. So I decided to take video and kind of mess around with the words. Now, phonetically, you can spell it the way I have it right here. V-I-D-I-O. Now, I know a lot of you say, no, you spelled it wrong. But folks, you can separate. It's called video. Dio. Dio means God. Just so you know, those of you that don't know, Dio means God. Dio does. And you have video. So it's the V-I-D-O. Game. It's a game we're playing. This is our so below. What's controlling us from the as above? I don't know if they're using remote controls like this, but it certainly is the same exact situation. It has to be with what we're seeing here. It's a 32 video. It's the VI God game. So I can keep going with this, folks. I just hope you're getting it. So let's get into these variants. That's why this topic's called the remote variant. Because here it is. You see, this is what we started with. The first one. And then the second one came out. There it is. Both of them right on the remote control. What do you think the odds would be? So do you think that maybe this guy right here is behind everything? Is that what we're being mocked by? This guy Ken's mocking us. Come on, folks. You got to use common sense and logic. I know I'm being a little harsh. Honestly, I don't really care. Because these are my opinions and truth. You don't have to believe them. Don't really care if I piss anybody off or somebody gets upset because they think I'm saying it towards somebody. This is not pertaining to anybody. This is just my opinions and truth. I see what's going on the world stage. I see the popular vote, and people are confused in the decoding world from what I see. And again, that's what I see. So we have these two variants. And then we go to the capstones of the words, and there they are. 4 and 70. And they can mean other things if you go and break them down into the ordinal and the reduction. You're going to get a different outcome, but you'll find it'll go right back to the same source. And then we get into the third one. This is just a theory of mine. Okay, I'm not saying this is true. I'm putting that out as a disclaimer. This is for entertainment purposes only. I have to say that because some people are going to be like, oh, well, Logan, you said, and like, I'm not a guru, folks. I'm just me. I'm a free Logan, okay? These are my opinions and truths. You don't have to agree with them. I have to say that now because people just are, this world is crazy. We live in a loony bin right now. But is this the third one that may come out? And why I'm saying that is because this letter in the Greek is called chi. That's how you pronounce it, chi. And of course, what do you see there? That's the X. And here's the origins of the letter. You do the etymology of the origins of the letter, and it goes back to ancient Phoenicia. The Phoenicians, that started the whole language. And notice clearly what stands out, what it means. That's right, X marks the spot, the mark of the beast. Is that what's going on? Because we have these two already, that there's already done. And then, of course, what is this? Well, I believe it to be that, the origination. And if you watch the show Squid Game, you're going to have these right here. You're going to have these people in pink wearing these face masks. Or is this just us, the X chromosomes? Because it could be. But I believe this is the Pandora's box, the origination of this title from the sun. It's from the sun, folks. But this is the expression I believe to be the most accurate, in my opinion, again. At what point do you draw the line and realize that there are so many moving parts, man could never code this. Just couldn't. So let's get into the next topic called computer medicine. Computer medicine. And I'm going to bring these two dudes into this topic. I'm not going to mention any names. I don't even need to. And I honestly don't care what they're doing. I do, but I don't, because see, if I involve myself in what they're doing, they're going to take my energy. I'm not interested in giving my energy, because they ain't giving me any of their energy. Not interested. They're doing their job. I'm not interested in their job. Not interested in a lot of other people's jobs. I'm just interested in being the tour guide here and showing you what I have found through my research. And the topic of this is computer medicine. And that's because this guy right here obviously was in the computer industry, which involves the binary system, the zeros and ones. And then you got this dude right here who's in the medicine business and the doctor business. And when you combine the two together and you merge them, you get the number 70. It's just interesting because computers is 42. That's life, the universe, everything. It's a big time number. And then medicine, architect, 28, Lucifer. But there's the 70, and automatically we see the connection there in the capstone of this word. So what does this mean? We're going to keep going. There's the variant. There's the two of them right now so far. And then let's add these up to see what we get on the world stage. And we're going to bring alchemy now into this, because alchemy has everything because we're made up of these elements, the elements. That's why Jesus said, ye are gods, because human beings are gods. We're made up of the elements, the Elohim, the electricity or currency. But there it is, beryllium and ytterbium. These two elements, using the trusty calculator, adding those up, we get the number 182.951. We directly match that to this element, which is a huge clue. A huge, and when I say huge, it's freaking huge. It's the wolf. And if you haven't seen my decode on Feed the Wolf, the game of life, it's all about feeding the wolf. The wolf is the Taurus fields. That's this reality that we're made up of. The number 74, which is the mirror of the 47, which is the 1111. And it's called tungsten. Tungsten, they used to make light bulbs and filament. And of course, the letter W is the 23rd letter, tied to the royal star of the lion. But this is all about illumination. And there's that 182 right there. And what is that linked to? Well, I was watching a documentary right here called Cryptopia just the other day. And, what is this whole topic about? The crypt. Going quantum. Going quantum. What is the whole agenda behind what's going on the world stage? Not on this topic, but this one. Same situation. Going quantum. That's what the agenda is. And I'm going to get to that in my fourth topic. But this was part from the documentary, and they used this several times, and this is where the crypto was stored. They were showing that in this, and I have a decode coming out on this. There is right there, a screenshot of it. And the 821 is where they went into, and the 821 is right there. It's a permutation, otherwise known as a number anagram. It's right there. So I want you to think about what I'm showing you. What am I alluding to here? Micron. What does micron mean? We're going to get to that. What does crypto mean? If you put your common sense together, you can figure it out without even going any further from here. But let's keep going, because I'm going to get into this topic now, which is probably the most important topic of this entire presentation. And that's transhumanism. Because that is exactly, in my opinion, the very agenda of this and this. It is setting people up. It is the preparation. And what I know about that, beyond that, I couldn't tell you. Don't have enough information yet. But the handwriting's on the wall. I'm going to support that as we move through this topic of transhumanism. I want to take this variant right here and the capstone of this word, and it's the number 70. We want to know where that number 70 fits. We want to go to the string of pi, because the string of pi is the three-dimensional space that we all make up through our emotions of love and fear, the sine and cosine waves that make up the perfect circle. The perfect circle is Earth itself, which, remember, in Revelation 13 verses 17, the 17 represents Earth. Look at where that number 70 appears in the 96th decimal digit of pi. 96 is the yin-yang. So what is that telling you? Balancing of the black and the white. And it occupies also digit number 97. So if you get out your calculators and add up 96 and 97, it's going to give you 193. And it's not just any number, 193. It is the freaking 44th prime number. 44 is a very special number. Is this the very reason why the music industry has moved music down to 440 hertz? Is that why? It's possible. 44, of course, is tied to the words gold currency, which is what we're all giving off, our currency, being used for our currency. The Greeks coined it ambrosia. And then we bring in the alchemy once again. Here it is. It's the Wizard of Oz. That's right. Who is the Wizard of Oz? What is the Wizard of Oz? It's osmium right there, 193. You can't miss it. It's right there. The Wizard of Oz has the rainbow, the yellow brick road. The rainbow is a representation of the light that comes out of the prism or prison. And what is Oz? What is Oz? This movie came out in 1939. 39th element is yttrium, has an atomic weight of 88. 88 miles an hour, Marty McFly, time travel. This clearly to me is telling you mankind is being used. The architect comes down here and becomes man and plays out our avatars, or remote control, he uses us. It's what this is all about. So what about that 44? Because you're curious. There it is. There's the bridge that I don't even know what to say to all of you. Other than here it is staring you in the face. And I can't get any more serious right now than I can saying that this is what I feel to be the agenda. This is the whole reason why this world, the biggest news on the world stage, is out there, what the agenda is behind it. And I don't think there's any denial about it at this point. There's a lot of moving parts to all this, but this is what's going on right here. It's clear that the wizard, whatever the Wizard of Oz is obviously running this, and it's running mankind, and mankind are just the little pawns, the good little actors and actresses playing out their little scripts and parts. You may not like the actors and actresses. Sometimes when you watch a movie, you don't like the actors or actresses. I don't think they care. Here's the bridge in alchemy. With that 44 in transhumanism and the Wizard of Oz, there it is, Scandium 21, and the start of it all, the topic that started it all. Of course, you know, what number do they put after this? The number 19. What's the 19th card in the tarot? The sun card. What does the sun produce? Light, which makes the rainbow. I know this may not be pretty for some of you. I mean, some of you may be struggling to grasp what I'm showing you. Folks, this is not man doing this. This should be crystal clear watching this. This is the agenda. This is what starts it all. This is what's going to end it all. That's my opinion. Let's keep going. When you do the numerology of the word scandium from this element, it equals the number 27, which of course is a direct match. And again, I'm using the same cipher now, which makes it much more difficult, because a lot of people like to use other ciphers. It makes it much more easier. Try doing it with just one. Get your narrative with just one. Makes it much tighter. A lot of people don't like that because it reduces their chances. Well, whatever. But obviously it's clear. We're going quantum. We're going quantum. That's what this is saying. That's what this is saying. Even the 21st card in the tarot is the world card. It's got the 4 faces, Ezekiel 1 verses 10. We can get into astrotheology. It's all there. And even the word, when you look at this word remote control, which is what I believe us being used by, there's remote is 27. Quantum is 27. Control is 30. And you'll find that in the string of pi that's attached to the number 50. And the words in God we trust is the number 50. The words indoctrination equals the number 50. 50 is the element tin, the merger of worlds. There's more solidified support as far as I'm concerned. Remote control is a direct match to the word puppet master. And, just when does it stop at this level? You think it just stops here, like us staring into this screen? What's staring into our screen? There's a bigger screen beyond our reality that's running the ship. Just doesn't stop here. We are the micro to the macro. We're the so below to the as above. The as above is controlling us remotely. Even those of you that are fans of theology said it's not a physical war, it's a spiritual war. Hello? Should tell you. Man's not running this. So if you go to transhumanism in all capital letters using the dog Latin from the Latinized version of the Francis Bacon cipher, you're going to get the number 508. And of course, you can just drop that 0 and you're going to get the 58, and it goes right back to that puppet master and remote control. So this is obviously, it's telling you where it wants it to go. When you do the rules of Francis Bacon, you're going to take the number that you get total and you're going to reduce it down by subtracting the number 52. Why 52? Because Francis Bacon uses the numbers 1 through 52. And you subtract it down until you get to a number 52 or below. Hopefully those of you have watched the video, How to Decode Your Name Through Francis Bacon Numerology. You got your card. But you're going to end at a number. This one had to be reduced down 52. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times to get to a number 52 or below. And it gets to this number 40. 40. And so now we connect it to this right here. This card, of course, is a very big card in this presentation, even though I'm just introducing it now and you've seen this for the first time. But what does this card mean? It's the infamous Ace of Spades. I got a decode coming out on this card, and the Motorhead, the band, sang the Ace of Spades, and you should see when they came out with their album and the song, it's insane. Those guys were being used. Folks, it just keeps going and going, and it just gets monotonous. And some of you are catching on, some of you just won't accept this because then you feel like you don't have any control, and then well, what's the point of life? Discovering your code, that's the point. Realizing just enjoy the ride. Be a creator instead of a consumer. But this is the card right here. The seed planter, death and regeneration. Now I want to just show you 40. If we go into the string of pi here, where's that number found? Let's just do. I don't have this in my. We know it's the number 70, but here's the number that's really important to tie in here. You see, the number 16 is the number that appears at the 40 and 41st decimal digit of pi. The number 40 and the 16 are tied together, and then you just go to the cipher here and you type in this word, and now we go back to the Hinduism religion, which is Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. And most of you should know, guess what Shiva's? Shiva's the god of destruction. The god of destruction. Destroy. And then you also can tie it to this mighty star called Sirius. And it's interesting because Jesus said he was from David. There's that connection. Just same cipher. But anyway, folks, there it is. It's the 40, tied to Shiva, tied to Sirius, tied to death and regeneration. And it's tied to this element right here on the periodic table called zirconium. Notice it starts with the letter Z, which is the last letter of the alphabet, which would be tied to the omega, 1/2 of the Oz. And zirconium has an average atomic weight of 91, which is battery, but the most abundant is 89. We're going to be getting into that in a minute because that's tied to Yaldabaoth. But notice what it means here. Comes from this word Zargon. It means gold-colored. Remember, we are gold currency being used for our currency. The scarab beetle that the Royal Society of Chemistry decided to use, they're going to tell you it's a symbol of death and regeneration. You know that band in the 1960s called the Beatles? Yeah, because it's all in tribute to this. The scarab beetle, death and regeneration. That's what this whole thing means. And there's the 89, how special the number 89 is. It's not just any number, it's a prime Fibonacci number. And of course, there's the X, because the letter X is the 24th letter in the alphabet, and that's tied to our X chromosomes. The 4 faces on Ezekiel 1 verses 10, the ox, lion, eagle, man, the 4 fixed signs of astrology, and then you get the 11th Fibonacci number tied to the element sodium, and Jesus saying, ye are the salt of the earth. That's right, because that's exactly what we're tied to. We're tied to this 89. 89 reduces down to the number 17. Yod He Vav He is 17. Star card is the number 17. And the 89, of course, is tied to Yaldabaoth, and there it is right here at the very bottom. I know got a lot of stuff going on here, but 89 is Yaldabaoth, tied to zirconium. Zirconium is the 40th element. It's the 40th prime is this number right there, the 173. We go right back to this title right here, remote control. This is what we're being used. Remote is 76. Remember, osmium is 76. Gold, tied to, folks, all of this. And the 173 is a permutation of the 137. 137 is the angle of light. We're light being slowed down into physical matter. We are being controlled remotely by something outside of our physical reality. It is a game, a simulation to whatever's running it. It's a video game for whatever's running this. It's a game. It's not real. To us, it's real, but it's not real to whatever's running this reality. It's the puppet master that's running that. Remember that variant, number 70, the 40 appears at the 70th decimal digit. It occupies 2 digits, 70 and 71. 70 and 71, you add that up, you're going to get 141. That's pi. That's what we all live in. We're stuck in this circle. Prison planet. And there it is, Sirium, the god of agriculture. Shemitah, if you've been following that, Jordan and Waters Above Crypto, big shout out to Jordan, but the Shemitah is tied to the number 58. The reset coming up. 2022, I think. There it is, the puppet master, remote control, Yaldabaoth, tied to this transhumanism agenda that's coming our way. Whatever happens, at that point, I don't know, folks. Don't have the answers as of right now. These are just what I'm finding at the very beginning of this. So here it is, as I showed in the string of pi. This 40th card appears at the 70th decimal digit. There it is right there. There's the whole title of everything. The O Micron right there. And we're going to get into at the very end the Greek playbook because it has everything to do with the Greek. And this Greek isopsophy, which is kind of, another numerology way to look at things. So let's get into the next topic called Ready Player Who. Ready Player Who. And, I had come out with this in a few of my decodes on the title of what's behind this. I had shown this organization and their birthday, their founding date, April 7th. April 7th is their founding date. And, of course, we're going to tie that to the cards. I mean, April 7th is the 97th day of the year. I mean, if you go back to this right here, Control is 97. Their founding date's the 97th day of the year. April 7th. It's 47. What do you see right here when you add it up? You just drop that 0. What do you get right there? 47. Do you think this is an accident? And do you think they're sitting down with the cards and numerology? Because we could just go into other ciphers as well. They'd have to get them all right. You ain't going to get them all right. Man, these people they're doing their job. You may not like their job. I don't like their job. Their job is Darth Vader energy, okay? That's just as simple as I can put it. They're doing their job. Good cop, bad cop. Worry about your job. Go exploit your job. Become a better version of your job. And you'll worry less about these people and their job. They'll take your energy. They want your energy. That's how they grow and become bigger. It's by talking about them, paying attention to them. That's why this is a contradiction. I doing this decode, but in essence, I'm giving this organization energy by talking about it. I'm giving this energy, I'm giving this organization energy by you watching this and looking at this logo. They get the energy. But of course, it's a contradiction because we got to talk about it. We got to figure this out. So their April 7th founding date is tied to this card right here. Let me go to this chart. April 7th, here it is. April 7th, there it is. The Ace Spades card. Right there. The 40th. I mean, well, how else are we supposed to describe what I'm showing you here? So what do you think their agenda is? It's this. That's what their agenda, that's what their job is. Which is why you get into the Georgia Guidestones. It's all connected. All of it. Let me just show you some more connections because these two guys are going to be directly tied. I showed this before. But here's his birthday. I don't even have to say their names. I'm not even going to. Here's his birthday. Here's his birthday. Guess what card they have for their birthday? They both have this card. Wow, what a coincidence. Now, do you think they're plotting their lives around their birth card? Like, hey, we got the same card, so let's come together and let's try to mock the world and try to pull the woolly over the eyes of the world. And, you know, folks, these guys are being used. That's why they came together. That's why they're here doing what they're doing. They're following their script. You can go and if you want to go press pause, you can check December 24th and then October 28th. You can pause it and you can find them yourself. But what is the tie-in for this and this organization? Well, I'm about to show you. Let me first by reiterating the variant that came out on November 26th. What is the November 26th card? Well, it's the same card as the birth card of these two gentlemen right here. How about that? What are the odds? Do you think they're sitting down and plotting it out like we're going to come out on it with this day because it's a match to our cards? You think these guys know the cards? Maybe. Let's bring in the chart now. Now, if you're new to this, just try to follow along as best as you can. This is the boilerplate chart for the cards of illumination. There's two sides of it, the right side and left side. The right side is called the master life side, otherwise known as the ego or identity. And then the left side here called the master spirit, of course, the spirit / soul. They go one, they're both one and the same, just different energies. And when you locate one card in a certain spot, you just go to you go to the opposite chart and you locate and find the card in there that's going to match that spot. So these guys, of course, have this 7 of Hearts card, right? As their birth card. So when I come over here to the Master Spirit side, there's the 7 of Hearts right there. And now all we got to do is come over to the Master Life side and find the same card in the same spot. And look at what card that is right there. Let me just highlight those for you. Look at what we have as a card pair in the Master Spirit, Master Life spread right there. These two guys. What do you see there? What do you notice there? These two guys have the 7 of Hearts, and then the Ace Spades is in the same position, but it's in the Master Life configuration. Well, obviously it's directly these guys have a founding date of April 7th, and it's the Ace Spades card. These two guys have different birthdays. There's their birth card right there, and it's a match. I mean, how are we to describe this? And even if you're not a fan of these cards, even if you've never seen these before, folks, how else are you to describe what I'm showing you here? This is serious business. Our reality is scripted. And then you bring in another organization. Just if you weren't convinced then, like, oh, okay, that's just good conversation for coffee and tea. You bring in this organization. And their founding date, July 1st. Which, of course, is the 182nd day of the year. What did I show the 182 tied to? The two variants. Add it up, and it's the Wolfram. It's tungsten. The wolf. Feed the wolf. These guys have the same freaking birth card as these guys. And those two organizations are a direct match to these two guys on the world stage in the card charts. Do you think this is by accident? Do you think these people were sitting down, these organizations, do you think they were sitting down and plotting this out? To pull the wool over your eyes or to get it right just because so they can be tightly woven into the script? Maybe, but I doubt it. Too many moving parts. So as you can see, this organization tied to the Shiva card, the death and regeneration. This organization tied to the Shiva card, death and regeneration. These two gentlemen playing out their roles, tied into the seven hearts, which is tied to the death and regeneration card. Hello? Bells should be going off. Then you get into the logo. What is the logo? It's the serpent. What is this? It's the sun. I showed this in the beginning. Here's the pattern right here. When you take this 13 months and you make another one and you put them top to bottom, it's going to start to form an S pattern. What is this form? An S pattern. This is the sun, folks. The sun devil. That's what we have going on here. And we can go further right here and we can bring in the organization. Do their numerology. What does their numerology say? Well, it's a number 89, which of course is it goes down to the 17, Yod-Heh Vav-Heh, goes down to the number 8. 19 is the 8th prime number. The 19th card in the tarot is the sun card. It's the sun. That's what's running this whole organ. That's why it's called the corona. You can't miss this. Here it is. Here's the element that bridges it all together. It's actinium, 89th element. It's got an atomic weight of 227. There's the clue right there. Cat out of the bag. That's why I said the O micron. It's the 722. It's right there. It's a permutation, number anagram. You can't miss it. What is 7 divided by 22? 3.14. It's pi. And there's the tie into Yaldabaoth, the Gnostic demiurge. Here's a artist's rendition of it. It's the worm with the lion's head body. The lion is the Lion of Judah. The lion in astrology is the 5th house, which is ruled by the sun. Those of you that know astrology, in the Chinese, it's the frickin' dragon. This is the dragon wave. Yaldabaoth, Gnostic demiurge. And we can't leave out Sirius because Sirius is going to be in here heavily. It's just not in the forefront of it all. So let's get into the last topic called the Greek playbook, because that's what it's being used. The playbook is the Bible. That's the playbook. Who wrote it? It's the most popular book on the world stage. This is what's being used to deliver to the world the effects of the cause. Do you think these people that are living on the world stage, do you think these guys right here, do you think they know what's going on with the playbook? Abso-freaking-lutely they do. They're not ignorant to the playbook. So at what point are they like, you know what, I'm going to change my ways. No, I'm going to stop doing that. Okay, well, come on. Folks, at what point do you draw the line? These guys are being used. Who wrote the playbook? And what is the God at this point? I mean, there it is. What does Revelation talk about? It talks about a paradise where there'll be no more death or suffering, wars, famine, pestilence. Well, when you put on those virtual reality glasses and you go into the virtual reality world, you go into that Ready Player One, what do you escape from? This reality. That certainly can be a paradise. So is it possible that Revelation, here it is in the Greek, here's paradise in the Greek, direct match, 113 is the 30th prime number, remember 30 is phosphorus, demiurge, Jehovah. Is it possible that the paradise is in the quantum realm? And that's what crypto is all about. Here's the first scripture in the New Testament talking about the paradise by Jesus the Christ. And remember, folks, you are the Christ, by the way. Human beings are the Christ. So welcome to the Christ family. You just got to own that space. Christ means love. That's it. And that's why, your adversary's fear. Love and fear, that's it. You are the Christ. It's pretty simple. Right here, he says, today I shall be with you in paradise. Luke 23:43. I had to modify this a little bit because it's going to reduce it down, but when you keep the numbers in their authentic format and fashion, you get the 23:43. Luke is 16, chapter 23, verses 33. Look at what it equals, 82. What is 82? Lead. Lead, of course, is telling you paradise is being a human being. That's the Garden of Eden, is earth. That's what it is. And you become lead, which is the decay rate of uranium. You and me, we start at uranium, goes down through the sun, becomes radium. Show this, radon, becomes lead, which is Lucifer. Plumbum, which is the name for lead, is 33, by the way. And then even Revelation 2, verses 7, which talks about the paradise of God. There's the 2 and 7. There's the 2, 7. 27 is currency. 27 is remote. The word remote and quantum. Can't miss this, folks. So you get into the finalized aspect of this transmission. Here's the tail end of this. And this is where it comes from. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, but this is the Greek Old Testament and the New. And of course, it's tied to the number 70, and that's where you get the 70 from. Here's the Greek original spelling of it, broken down through numerology. It's the number 97. Remember, control equals 97. Just remember that word. Control, remote control. Control is 97. What do you think the Bible is? It's all about control. 97. And where we find that 97 in the string of pi, the number 70 occupies 96 and 97. Remember, this means 70. Tied to the Torah, Judaism. It's all, folks, there's no separation. I keep saying that. But there it is. I mean, if you can't see this, numbers don't lie. This is the code now. The code that you don't see on the surface. Here's the word itself. This is where the variants come from. They're using the Greek, so we got to follow the Greek. Got to bring the Greek into this. That's what the Vatican uses. They go off the Bible. The Vatican controls 40% of the world's population. Like it or not. There it is, the 40. I mean, right there, 40. Tied to the 70. Tied to the book's name. Tied to the death and regeneration card. Revelation. So I do have one other topic. It's called downsizing. So let's get into downsizing. And this is why I wanted to call this decode Micron. I felt like this was the clue that most people missed. And it's just that word micron. What does micron mean? The micronization. When you go study micrometers, you're talking nano. It's so tiny. Downsizing. And this is the variant. Of course, it is the 29 tied to Yaldabaoth. 29 in the string of pi occupies digits 186 and 187. When you add those up, get out your calculators. Gives you the number 373. What's the 373? Oh, it's just the 74th prime number. Go right back to that element, tungsten and the wolf and the cryptocurrency. Going into that locker number 821. Which is the 128. It's tied to the number 74 and tungsten and the wolf. So you can clearly start to see, ladies and gentlemen, that it's very possible that this is the way our reality starts out. We start out as giants, the giants that ruled the earth. And as we move through time, we become smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until we get to the quantum level. We downsize. Remember, life, the universe, everything, 42. Molybdenum, lead. I mean, is this this is a ziggurat, and, is this where we started out? Life. Does life just repeat? Does it just go in cycles? We get to that layer of the Tower of Babel where we realize that we're part of this computer system, and then we get wiped out and we return back to man again and we start back all over again. Is that what happens? Well, it leads me to this. I think this is my last slide. Yeah, my last slide, folks. Just getting you to think. I've been very abstract with this, but to simplify it, my personal summarization of this entire presentation is that the agenda right now on the world stage is to move people towards transhumanism. Will we have a choice on that? I will not answer that. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But I believe the variant, the Micron, that's 722, and of course 7 divided by 22 is pi 3.14, perhaps telling us a very fitting story. The micrometers, and when I was decoding this and I broke this apart, I saw something. So I decided, immediately what came into my mind was The Incredible Shrinking Man, downsizing, of course, Matt Damon and downsizing. He's in the Adjustment Bureau, Elysian, these movies that I feel are telling us the script. But I decided to look up this Incredible Shrinking Man, and I was led to this guy, Richard Matheson, and he's written many books. This one called The Shrinking Man. Of course, why do I have Alice here? Because she drank the potion, shrunk down to go into Wonderland. The stories are all the same. They're telling you all the same things. And this guy also had a book called The Omega Man, starring Charlton Heston and The Omega Man. So is it very possible that we just go back to source? I just don't know. I'm kind of, this is where I'm going to leave it off to where I'll just ask you to figure it out. What do you think? And of course, this is completely theoretical, obviously. There's nothing, I can't prove it beyond what I'm showing you here. But why are these stories all telling you the same thing? And, why did they call it this one? What are they injecting? What is it preparing people for? Remote control? So all of it fits in. It's just, if you go study this book, and I could have went crazy gangbusters on this movie and book, and it just keeps going. It just keeps, at some point I have to shut it off. So, folks, what is it you saw during this presentation? I'd really love to hear your thoughts. Please keep your thoughts, at least cordial. Don't be a dink. Even if you don't agree, like I said, these are just my opinions and truths. I'm just a tour guide. You don't have to agree with me. You got to make the truth your own. Ultimately, I think that's how we're all living. We're creating our own fractals, and whatever you believe in at the very end is where you're going to head when you come back into another reality, which I believe in reincarnation. So until you maybe figure it out and get out of this game. But anyway, folks, that's all I got for today. My name is Logan. This is Decode Your Reality. I thank each and every one of you for your donations, your Patreons. Those of you that are looking to get a reading, I have very selected dates in December. I have a few left. I don't know if I'm going to open up January, but I do have a few left. So if you feel the urge, reach out to me, decodeyourreality@gmail.com, and send me a request on that. So until next time, folks, we'll see you later.